Good morning. Welcome back. Hey, I got up kind of late this morning, but I was tired. Oh, hopefully next week I'll be able to get up earlier and start working out in the morning. What I'd really like to do is get up and go running in the morning. 'Cause aside from swimming, running is my preferred exercise. But there's not tons of places to swim around here, so it's easier to just go running. I wonder if, like, I wonder if people swim more who are like next to rivers. Well, no, you wouldn't want to swim in a river for exercise because rivers will wash you away if you're deep enough to swim. And you wouldn't want to swim in the ocean for exercise, really, because the tides could pull you out, or you could find a rip tide. I guess you could swim in a lake if you had a good lake by you, but I don't know, that water's not as clean. I mean, ocean water ain't either, but I guess you probably don't really swim for exercise in natural water too much. But I don't know, I've never lived around a ton of natural water. Uh, the city I live in now, we have lots of like playa lakes, or like, not playa, what are they called? Are they called playa lakes? I don't remember. Pretty much runoff from rain. If you have too much rain, it'll flood. So they have all these low spots designated for flooding that just contain water a lot of the time because of continual rainfall. But it's not, they're not really safe to swim in, particularly because it is just urban runoff. Uh, so it's not natural water. But yeah, where I grew up, we didn't even have a, I don't even think there was a river or a stream anywhere nearby. Like, it was just super dry. But it is on the edge of a desert, so not surprising too much. But yeah, and when we go to visit my wife's family, they live within like a 20-minute drive of like, a river, a reservoir, another creek, and I think another branch of the river creek as well. There's like three different natural water sources, one semi-natural, or I guess the reservoir is just natural fed, but it's an artificially dammed portion of that. But either way, it's a lot more natural water, and they get a lot more rainfall. So, yeah. But, oh, and as far as, natural water sources, I'm not used to living like real close to one. I'd like it. I love going to, I love seeing natural water in areas. I think it's beautiful, but it kind of just, it's hard to find around here. I mean, not too hard. There is actually a small river that flows into a lake uh, right outside of the city here. And then there's a kind of a suburb built up around the lake. But it's not a huge area. Oh, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of think it'd be nice to live nearby to, a river or lake or something. But at the same time, I kind of don't uh, care that much because I feel like you still aren't gonna really get out to it much. And I mean, you're not gonna do anything there most of the time anyway. So if you just have an extra 20-minute drive to get there, it wouldn't really make much of a difference. But I like trout fishing. Some we do that when we go on vacation in the mountains. Do some trout fishing, rainbow trout. But I like it. It's a lot of fun, but it's not always something. It's not something I really do outside of that. I there's not great fishing around here, I guess anyway. So I don't even know where I would go for fishing around here. But I'm not big on like a fishing trip. I know that there are some people who really like making a big trip out of it, and the fishing is just kind of the thing they do, but really it's just to spend time with the people they're going with. But I don't know, because it's with my family, I just like spending time with them at home more, I guess. Like I feel like we don't really need an excuse to get together as much. Which I know some people just have like the tradition of fishing. It's not all excuses, but and some people genuinely really like fishing and want to just make the time for it, even though they don't usually have time. And maybe are in a situation like mine where they do have to travel to go fishing. I don't know. If I lived on a river with some fishing, I might do it every now and then. But I feel like I just don't have a ton of time these days anyway, because, I only got a couple hours a day and I like spending that. at home and not out. And then on the weekends, I have more time, but then you only have so many weekends. And I like to be home on Sunday because, I mean, you can go to a different church or you can have your own church out in the woods because we do that on vacation up in the mountains with my family. We'll just sing and have our own thing out in the woods a ways. But I like being at our home church because it feels good to be in a community there. But it's one of those things, you just got like, so that gives you like one day out of town or one potential day out of town a week, and then that's not including anything you have to do to take care of the house or the cars or just deal with any other things that come up. So just very short on time, I guess. But it's definitely harder with a little kid because don't really want to go on a long trip very often because it's hard in the car with her. And I mean, we have a dog too, and don't really have anybody who can watch the dog reliably because we have a lot of people who can watch her and we leave her with them, but just they either live a little bit further away, so we can't just say, "Hey, could y'all watch her for the day?" Like my parents, they live an hour away, but we would like to leave her with them because if they're gonna be in town, they'll take good care of her and she's comfortable at their house. But if they're not in town, which they are usually, but it's also just hard to drive an hour there and back to drop her off when we're about to go on another trip. But that's all the time I have for talking for now, so we'll continue this later. And a bit. Oh, the last 2 days I was making sure to use the same headphone to record so that I could listen back to it and then determine which one was having the crackly issues. And I completely forgot to do that. Oh, just that. Yeah, I completely forgot to check the recordings before starting today, so I have no idea which one was having the crackly microphone issue. So hopefully it's not the one I'm using, but if it is, we'll see. I need to remember to do that later today before I completely forget uh, that that's which one I put in on what day. But yeah, yesterday, so 7:10 was the left, 7:9 was the right. Uh, which I know I just need to probably like look at getting a microphone that I could plug in directly because that would prevent some of the issues, if not all of them. And that would also kind of help with making sure that the audio is good quality, but I'm not really that terribly invested yet. This is more of just a hobby still, so Okay. Oh, I need to figure out. So, my in-laws are coming into town this weekend, so that'll be nice. We get to see them again. But I need to figure out because I need to work on the lawn this weekend, so I need to figure out what day I'm going to do that. Probably try and do that tomorrow because yeah, tomorrow I'll be a little bit busier, but I think we're going to have a good break in the middle of the day that I can uh, trim the grass at least. Because I've been thinking about getting some old fence boards and using them to make like little planters, but I kind of need to plan that out a little more. I think it's a fun idea, though. I think it'd be good to do. 'Cause I was thinking I could make some smaller planters with some old fence boards that don't need to be water or dirt tight. They just need to be there for organizational purposes. Organizational purposes. I just thought of accountant dolphins. Uh, words. It's fun to kind of when you know there's words that are similar, and so you intentionally kind of mix them up to be funny. I think that's one of those things my dad did. Like he'd call a parking spot a sparking pot, and uh, call a Barnes and Noble Barney Snowball. Just little things like that. Those are just funny little dad jokes, and I have definitely started doing those more since I became a dad. My daughter's still too young to get them, but I still think it's funny. And I make my wife chuckle a little, even if there's a groan in there, too. But I think that's the thing that's a fun part of being a dad is making dad jokes and like intentionally making just not very funny jokes because kind of the very dumb irony of them and like the silliness of them not really being that funny makes it even more funny. At least in my opinion, that's how it goes. But yeah, I think it's pretty funny. Oh, yeah, I need to. So next time visiting uh, my family, they have a bunch of old fence boards, and I need to get some. And then I was thinking I'll like make it essentially one board long. So it's like what about 6 foot, and then yeah, about 6 foot, and then about four wide, and then trim down some other boards to lay across, and then I guess it might need to be like too tall. I need to ask my wife what she wants because she's going to be the one doing the gardening that I'm doing these for. Yeah, we're we live kind of close to the highway, so she doesn't really want to grow any food plants because a lot of pollution from car exhaust and all that. So she wants to grow more like flowers. So we can figure out how deep they need to be for flowers. I don't think they need to be too deep. So if I could get away with doing like one call, then it would maybe be manageable for me to move on my own, even once it's full of dirt. If she wants them to be like too tall, maybe I can cut the boards in half to make them a little smaller. We'll see. But if I can make them a little tighter, maybe I could even move them a little easier without spilling much dirt. But I guess I'd need to just do two two like crossing layers on each face. But I could do the inside box. Like could essentially make two boxes, with the inside box and the outside box being slightly different thicknesses, and then make them parallel, not parallel, perpendicular to each other so that it's crossing. So I could have like a vertical on the inside, horizontal on the outside, because I think horizontal would look better, but then have an extra inch, or not an entire inch, but however big they are. I think they're like, well, I can't remember how thick the boards I have are. Oh, looks like there's a funeral procession going by. Oh, I just need to wait for that. But yeah, okay, they passed. Yeah, but the main thing is I want to be able to move the whole kind of planter about, and so we can take it with us when we move or put it wherever we want. But I like the idea of making it out of old fence boards. It's a little, side project. I like kind of doing simple side projects like that because that's just measuring, cutting, and nailing. So it's super simple, super easy. I can do it with just a few tools I have on hand in maybe an hour, maybe a little more than an hour. It depends on how complicated I want to get, I guess. But, just some old fence boards should be fine. But yeah, maybe I'll make a video out of that. Could be fun. I don't know how to format a video of building something though, because yeah, I feel like I don't want to record the whole thing, uh, but it's like, do I want to do some kind of fancy editing where I like get all the pieces and then after I put them together, like show each step of the process? Do I want to just show a little bit here and there? I really don't know the best way to do that. I guess I could just record all the bits and then take it from there. But I'll see. That might be a project for a couple weekends though, because I need to get the old boards first, and I don't think we have room in my wife's car, which is what we take out of town. So we'll see. Oh, my daughter's getting to that stage and being a toddler where she wants to only eat a little bit at her meals, and then oh, she wants to eat a tiny bit at meals and then snack all day long. And we're trying to get her to eat more food at her meals, but she's just not wanting to because she wants to snack before and after and during, all over the place. But she is still eating, but just not during meals as much and not as much as we would like her to be. It's just one of those things that's always hard with toddlers, I think, though, is food. Because luckily, she eats a pretty good amount of, like, different kinds of food. She's not super duper picky. She can be a little picky here and there, and sometimes doesn't want what we make her. But I think we probably need to just introduce her to more new foods and just let her eat whatever we're eating most of the time, because she seems to like to eat what we're eating. But a lot of times we eat things that she probably wouldn't like as much or aren't really something she can eat. Like she can't eat a burrito yet. I mean, but she can eat like some cheese quesadillas and stuff like that. Oh, the time's sure going by fast. Like, this week just feels like it flew by in the blink of an eye. And really just feels like it went by very fast. Oh, there's another big water bird. I need to look up and see what that bird was that I saw the other day. Anyway, I don't remember exactly what. Oh yeah, I was talking about doing the making a planter of some sort, and I was trying to think of other things because like planters are one of those things you can kind of convert a lot of different things into one. Like, I mean, I don't know what a good example would be, but I feel like there's a lot of things like an old tire. Not kind of. You can put the if you have a wheel, maybe. I'm just trying to think of things I have that I can use or like that my family has just lying around not using because I don't particularly want to buy a bunch of new material. And what is this guy doing? I just got passed by an 18 wheeler doing 75 in 65. Well, 65. Well, I'm guessing he's doing about 75. Maybe he just didn't see the sign. Anyway, but yeah, because over here in old fence boards, I don't know what I would use. I also I had an idea that I wanted to do, uh, where I was going to get uh, a uh, 1 inch by 1 inch. Like I already have this 1 inch by 1 inch by 8 foot uh, wooden rod. And so what I want to do is kind of do something to make it into like a measuring stick for like my kids as they grow, because we don't own a place yet, so I can't like put them up against a wall and measure them because then they would uh, then they would just have to paint over it when we left. So I was trying to think, should I get and do that or like get a two before? But I think I want to do just use that smaller rod. But then I was thinking I could like do something with it to make it look nicer. But I'm not exactly sure what. I mean, I could always sand and stain over it or something. But yeah, because right now my daughter's like getting towards almost 2, and I was thinking maybe start at her second birthday, and then whenever we have a second kid, have that ready so that we can start measuring them. Because I grew up in the same house that my parents currently live in my whole life, so they have a spot where they measured us growing up, and you can see kind of the change over the years where everybody is. I don't know if I could get my daughter to stand still enough for a measure measuring stick though, but I'm sure I could get her to stand still for a second next to it. But yeah, if we can do that. But yeah, I need to cut like probably I don't know how much off because your average doorway is about 7 foot. Uh, and I want it to fit easily within a doorway. But if one of our kids ends up being real tall, I don't want it to be too short to measure them. So maybe like 6.5 foot, because that'll fit through any doorway and it'll be a good size for storage because I feel like that's pretty easy to store. But then that'll be good, and then I can, if one of our kids is over 6.5 foot, well, they are going to be super, super tall and just have to deal with it. They'll get to say they outgrew the measuring stick. But wonder what I should kind of do. Oh, there's a fire truck. I wonder where they're going. Oh, I don't know about anybody else, but every time I see an emergency vehicle, I do the whole pull over that you're supposed to do. But then I also always kind of look up and while I'm pulled over, not moving, I look around trying to see if I can spot where they're headed. I don't know what it is in humans that's got that, like a morbid curiosity where you kind of like to look and see what's going on, even if you know it's tragic. Sometimes, especially if you know it's tragic, it's like you kind of have that morbid curiosity of wanting to know what's going on. Which I guess morbid curiosity is the name for it, but I don't like. I just kind of wonder what that is in humans that does that. I just thought I was just thinking back to the idea of building the uh, planters, and I was thinking that yeah, I don't think we have enough room to bring the boards back. But and I was also thinking earlier, I don't have a good like table saw. I have just a, jigsaw, which like works, but and is good for what I usually need, which is just a little bit of cutting here and there, and not a ton of room. But I really like a table saw or a circular saw or a chop saw, just something with a little more structure to it to kind of be good. But my dad has all that. So I just realized I can just chop up the pieces at his house and then take them home from there and not take home the whole pieces that I don't need all the way cut up or that I need to cut up later. I could just cut them up ahead of time. But that's probably the better idea. And that's also all the time we have for now. Alrighty, and we're back for the final part of today's episode. Oh, oh, Friday evening or Friday afternoons are always the longest. Oh, but yeah, I'm just tired in general today. Oh, so I was talking, I think this morning about the like, I don't know what they're called. I think they're called playa lakes, but that might be something else. I don't think they're retention ponds. Pretty much the drainage ponds in uh, in the city I live in. I work pretty close to one, and I pass it on the way out every day. Look, I mean, they are pretty full. We've had a lot of rain recently, and then pretty pretty heavy rainfall. Uh, and all the lakes around town are starting to swell up kind of big and get some deeper water in them. You don't think about how much water there is in like even just like small pools. because it's like a lot of water when you really think about it, but a lot of times you don't really notice. Because yeah, like so to raise the water level by like, well, I guess it, it depends on the size of the uh, pond or lake, but some of these are like a good, you know, couple hundred feet long by a couple hundred feet wide. That's like, say it's some of them, if they're like, I don't know, a good size estimate, but it's like probably probably about 100 meters by 100 meters. So like roughly equivalent to 100. Uh, I don't know if it's 100 meters. That might be a little big. It's hard to judge distance a lot of times. So I'm not entirely sure. I think it's like 100 meters, maybe 100 by 50. So that'd be 100 times 50 is 5,000. So yeah, probably about 5,000. Well, that'd be a square. It's not exactly square. Probably around 5 square kilometers. That's a, I don't know, that might be a little big, but 50 meters is not that far, and 100 meters is not that far. Maybe it's 50 by 50, because it's definitely 50 at least. I'd hazard a guess at a 50, 50 meter diameter circle. So times pi, that'd be 100 and, no, that's for radius. Area would be pi r squared. And 50 squared is 200? No. 2,500? No. 50 times 50. Five. Yeah, yeah. 2,500. No. No, no. 50 times 50 would be 10 times 5 times 50. 5 times 50 is 250 times 10 is 2,500. That seems a little bit big because it'd be pi r squared to get the area of a circle. Just 50 meters. So 50 meters by 50 meters. So if it were a square, oh, 25. That's where I went wrong. 25 squared. That makes more sense. Okay. 25 squared is 625. So 625 times, that's right? Yeah, that's right. Uh, so 625 times pi, so 3.4 six, 18, around 1700. So probably around 2 square kilometers is one of these ponds. That took me way too long to get to that answer, but I would estimate 2 square kilometers surface area and an average of about a meter deep because they get very shallow at the edges and don't get very deep for a while, but then they get deep enough in the middle to make up for it. So even if they're just 1 meter deep on average, a meter cubed is 1 ton of water. And so 1.7 kil- kilometers would be 1,700 metric tons of water in a single one of these ponds. Like, that is a lot of water. And I don't really remember where I was going with this. That's just a lot of water. Oh, and I think it also people just, not people, well, people, but like me included, just everyone forgets how big clouds are. Like, clouds contain so much water, it's crazy to think about, especially since they're floating in the sky. Like, clouds contain millions of tons of water sometimes. And like, if you count anything kind of connected in the sky that you can't clearly see uh, a difference in as a single cloud, then there are clouds the size of continents sometimes. Like a hurricane is just a single cloud if you judge it like that, pretty much. But no matter how you judge it, it is a single atmospheric formation that has just like crazy, crazy, crazy amounts of water in it. And it's just up there in the sky flying around. Wind is strong. Like, and just when you can have water that's condensed into clouds, but it's still just like so much bigger than you think. But anyway, that's all the time we have for today. So have a good day, and we'll be back on Monday.